Hello, hello.
And
Welcome, Liz.
hello, happy to be here.
So great to have you. And hello to everyone who joined us tonight. You can say hello in the chat. And of course, you're invited to participate with Liz and I during this conversation. So feel free to use that chat as much as you want. So here we are. We're back at the coaching shop where coaches talk shop and build worlds that work. And in tonight's episode, we are sitting down with Liz Haber Zambrano, who is an Ideal Coaching Global alumni and executive coach for global brands like Lego, Pandora, Novartis. And we're going to explore how she built such a thriving referral based coaching practice without following a formula. In fact, tonight we're really exploring how to go beyond the niche and challenging the myth that every coach needs an audience or an online brand. And instead, we're looking at the power of relationships, how building authentic connection creates more opportunities than strategies ever could. And what's really interesting is a lot of students, when they come to ICG, I spent many years teaching people how to build their coaching practice. And everyone wants the formula, right? They want the how to, they want to check the boxes. How do I build my brand? How do I create clients? Give me the secret sauce, right? And I was having this conversation with Liz a couple weeks ago, and it's how she ended up here on this episode tonight. Because Liz decided she was going to build her coaching business her way, based on reputation, integrity, and word of mouth, rather than ads and funnels and gimmicks, right? So her story really reminds us that there isn't one right way to succeed,
Right.
but instead there's unlimited possibilities. So, Liz, welcome.
Wow, how well said, Kyla. Thank you. And good to see you. We've known each other for a really long time. So it's just really cool to be on this side together. Yeah. And just going off of what you said, absolutely. I wanted to, when you said, what do you want to talk about? This was it, because I actually had recently um, been referred to speaking to someone who was actually my sister's old boss who had just gotten her ACC and wanted to start coaching and asked me how'd I do it. And she was so surprised about the way and so appreciative that there are other ways that I was like, yeah, other people get to experience this, especially if you don't necessarily know your direct path, or if you're looking out there and you see people who have their niche, who have their audience, are doing programs, are filling up, and you might be thinking, or maybe not, but some people might be thinking, I don't know if I can do that, or I don't even know if I want to do that. And I just wanted to represent another side of coaching that is powerful and fulfilling, but may not be as public as what you see online. So I just wanted to speak to other ways that your coaching career or a coaching career could look, but not necessarily, like you said, not as a formula or a blueprint, but just as a possibility. Like I'll share, parts of my story and things like that, but not as do what I did, but as a possibility to stand in when you can get clarity, not necessarily on who you're working with, but how you're working.
Mm,
Yeah. Or maybe both. Maybe both. Yeah.
yeah, excellent. Very excited. So let's start with like kind of the beginning of your process. Like, tell me about all the stuff you felt like you had to do, and the things that kind of made you go ick, uh,
Yeah.
and those failures, those early failures.
Sure. Yeah, so I actually got started in the personal development world. So I started coaching as a volunteer coach. That's where we met, actually. So volunteer coaching, and figured out, wow, I'm pretty good at this. And it was at a time in my life where I knew the career path that I was on was not the career path that I wanted anymore. So if not that, then what? And here was this coaching thing. This is 15 years ago. Here's the coaching thing that is like I'm good at, but it's very specific and I'm going to give it a try. And I did, and that was great. I had like built-in community. There were people that needed coaching. Um I worked heading up their leadership program. It was a three-part personal development training, and that was what I was doing. Most of my time was coaching and also helping run and lead a community because so it was a big community of people, and that was great and fun and lovely. And then in 2020, it was no more, and the pandemic had the business shut down. And I found myself very quickly, um, very pregnant and very lost. Like, if I am not doing that, then what am I going to do? And I had this small, like, I actually went and got my certification ICG in 2018. And I had a small practice on the side. Like, I had maybe 3 or 4 clients, maybe less than that, maybe like 3. So 2020, I'm basically unemployed. And I was looking around and I was seeing a lot of my colleagues um, right away collaborating, creating programs, like enrolling this body of people that wanted to do the work but didn't have anywhere to go, and going for it, creating videos, advertising, marketing, all the whole nine. And I was frozen. In fact, the more that I saw that happening, the more frozen I became. And I tried a little bit, like I had taught a sacred feminine course. So I'm like, okay, I can do a spin on that, and maybe I can do this, or collaborate with some other trainers and create and enroll women. And that was I did it, but it did not, it was so draining because before I had like groups of people who were built in, ready to go, you know, built-in audience. And now I was having to create that audience from scratch. And I don't like doing that. It's not, I can do it, but it is not something that I enjoy or I want to have be a part of my like wait career. Like, I don't want a huge part of my job for me to rely on enrolling people into my courses and and filling up people. I didn't want to do that. But I didn't know didn't want to do that until I was doing it. And I'm like, no, I don't like this. This is not for me. Some people are phenomenal at it. There are people out there that can do it. They love it. I didn't. I used to say, like, I cannot sing and dance on the internet. I just don't want to do that for me. And so I had my baby, and I was still very much like, I don't know what's next for me. And I was even questioning if coaching was still going to be it, because I had talked to some other people, and I was saying, like, I just want to be able to coach and create courses and facilitate groups, but kind of like built in. I want to partner with already existing entities and build in. And someone told me the only way you can do that is if you um, get a huge following and become very like internet fame, or become influence level, and then sell yourself and the course to a larger company. That's the only way you can do that. And at the time, I'm like, okay, got it. So I guess this isn't for me, but I didn't like let it go completely. Um, and then a little bit after I had my first child, people like started asking me if I would coach them one-on-one. Maybe like two or three people all at the same time. It was very random, but also I had been in the question, like consciously in the question, what is next for me? I would journal like, what is next for me? Question mark, and then shut the book. I was meditating. I was um, thinking about it a lot. I would spend time being in the question, open to the answer. And one
Mhm.
of the answers, so when people started asking me, will you coach me? I was like, oh, okay, okay. I'm listening. And I was a yes. And I had a couple other people and I started to build up my practice again. Um, I also want to say for a short moment, I tried recovery coaching, was not for me. Honor everybody that that's for, was not for me. I tried the women's courses. I did the recovery coaching. Oh, then I was like, I need to niche myself. This is the other thing. I need to niche myself. Okay, because other people were doing that. I heard a whole um, TED talk, like you've got to do it. Okay, so I'm like, okay, let me do this. But I was so frustrated because I love just working with people. I could not do it. I'm like, I don't know. And I knew people who were doing it very successfully. Like I knew a person who coached only men. I knew a person who coached women going through IVF. I knew people who coached people that were in recovery from codependency. Like so many different beautiful niches, and I loved all of them. So I was like, okay, let me ask my another coach gave me this idea. Ask your clients what's like three words they would use to describe the experience of working with you. And the word that came up the most was clarity. So I'm like, that's it. I'm a clarity coach. Got a whole thing, got a whole workup, clarity coach. And then I would always forget to say, I'm a clarity coach because it wasn't like resonating on me. But I tried it. I did try it. I also tried making videos. I did that. But all of these things would just last for a very little spurt and then it would die off because I wasn't committed to it. I wanted to coach. Um, so then again, I'm in the question. People started falling off out of the sky. And then I started to get I don't know, like nudges and nudges towards organizational coaching, corporate coaching, business coaching. And what appealed to me about that were built in structures with people in it. Like, wow, I don't have to go enroll 100 people. I just need to enroll one company, like that. I liked that. Like it was simple and it was strategic and it could be expanded. And around that time, um, ICG started their ATEC program. They had done one round and I watched the round go. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm ready to commit as well, but I was still going down the path, building my practice, building my practice. And then I decided, okay, let me go back. That's another thing. In my practice, I only took certificates or courses that I thought could immediately support the people I was in relationship with or the path that I was on. Because I have seen in my career people like take course after course after course, but never actually launch. So I've always been very selective of the types of courses and things that I do. I held out on getting my ICF certification until I saw, wow, in the world of coaching, this is actually becoming power, like it's needed because anybody can call themselves a coach now. And this is a separation of like, no, 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 I take this seriously. I honor the craft. I'm certified. So it was one of those again. So okay, I'll go back. Executive coaching, beautiful. Um, and that also just brought me more and more into the world. And little by little, it started happening. And one of the things that I want to speak to that supports me, that has supported me the most when I say like, okay, yeah, I build my practice on reputation and word of mouth. but half of those like referrals come from other coaches, come from other connections that I've had, like that coach that I had that only worked with men. Well, anytime a woman of one of the men that he worked with would come to him, he would refer me to them. So I had a practice, and then sometimes I would refer women or men of the women that I was coaching to him. Or I had a client, a colleague who knew someone that was starting a boutique executive coaching collective of really awesome coaches. Guess who she recommended? Me. So bless you. And that turns into something, which turned into something. Um, Even from ICG, I was once on an email chain with someone who came to ICG looking for recommendations for a specific type of coach that fit something they were looking for. And I got CC'd on that, and I randomly applied and have been working with them for over a year, and been able to get into different companies and corporations like that. So all of this to say, there are so many ways, but for me, the main thing that I kept in mind, and I would offer to anybody that's like wondering, how do I build my practice, was I was asking myself, how do I want to work and how do I want to live? And then designing it through that way. So when I was telling you, I want to coach and facilitate and write courses, but I don't want to be doing these things as much, I was able to figure out that path. And I want flexibility, and I want to be able to travel, and I want to be able to say no. That's another really important piece to me. Like I get to say no, and I have that today. Like I can say no to different contracts because I'm not employed by any one place, but I could contract and partner with different people. That's it in a pretty good 17-minute nutshell.
So let's break some of this down because there's so much magic happening right now. I love that you talk about being willing to experiment and
Hmm.
deciding what doesn't work, what you didn't like, what you don't want. I think that's
Hmm.
really important. I used to have a yoga teacher who would say, to have everything you want in life, give away everything you don't. And I heard that teaching come up for me while you were talking.
Hmm.
And it takes experimenting to find out what we really want. And
Yes.
we have a saying that actually comes out of Silicon Valley, fail fast and fail forward. And that was coming up for me too. So it's being in the question and seeing where that question leads you, allowing you to try different things on without getting attached to them. Your story about being a clarity coach is so funny. I so relatable. And I saw Natasha in the chat relating with you as well. Hi, Natasha. Uh, so yeah, being able to try different things on allows us what we want to say no to. And unless we know what we want to say no to, how do we really ever say yes? Right?
100%. And I would even take that to clients, because in the beginning of my practice, I didn't want to say no because I wanted to work with people and I also wanted to eat. So, yes, yes, yes. And I learned very quickly, um, people that weren't compatible, like what that magic, yet I'm a yes to you and you're a yes to me to make this work really well, what that looked like. And today, from having experienced dreading coaching conversations or like canceling coaching contracts for before, so from having experienced that, I can tell in just the first initial sample session if this is going to be a fit or not. And I honor that and happily say no to people if it's not. Yeah. But
Mm.
even I'm at the point, because I'm not out there advertising and so much, like I really believe like if you find me, it's because somebody gave you my name. and there's a reason that we're meeting, and most likely than not we are compatible on that level. And that lens, I'm almost always right, but it might also be because I'm willing to say no if it's not a good match, that only good matches happen to be showing up most of the time. Yeah. i
Yeah.
i yeah, it's an interesting dynamic there, but it's real. But yeah, even the clarity of the type of people that I want to work with. And really it's like you just got to be open to coaching and being willing to try things on in practice, and I can work with you.
Yeah, and through that process, it sounds like you started to become more and more clear of what you
Hmm.
wanted. And you talked about this before, getting really clear on designing your life and your work to align with who you are, your values, your energy, your lifestyle. But it's almost like you created this vision and then
Yeah,
started to say no to anything that wasn't that.
absolutely. And yeah, that's when I what I mean when I say like understanding how I wanted to work and what I wanted to be doing and what I wanted to keep a majority of my life or of my work time, what I wanted it to consist of, while knowing there's still going to be parts like I don't love filling out expense reports and things like, but okay, got it. But it's not the bulk of my, the bulk of my practice, and that's fine. And I also am very clear that the way that I've designed my work right now is fitting for this season of my life. I'm a mom of two young girls. I have a family. I have things that I'm committed to, and they take up a lot of my time. So my working hours are based around them. I don't want to travel too much anymore. I don't want to be like out. I don't want to be working weekends. And that's where I'm at now. And I understand that there might be other times and other seasons, just like there's been before, where this can evolve and this can change. So that's one of the beautiful things about coaching. There's so many ways it could look. And the industry is only getting like bigger and more mainstream, that there I see that as like even more ways it can look that it couldn't even look before, where I can walk into a room and people know what executive coaching is, where before you would say like I'm a coach and they're like, of what, tennis, baseball, what do you mean coach? That's not the answer I get anymore, when I say that to people. So I that excites me. So this is where I'm at today, which wasn't where I was 10 years ago, and may not be where I am 10 years from now. And I'm open to that.
So let me ask you this. You tried niching yourself in all these different ways, wasn't for you. If someone does ask you, well, what do you do? How do
Yeah.
you answer that question?
I say I'm a executive coach and consultant. And then just leave it there. And if they want more, I'm like, yeah, I work with people on either high performing teams or how to lead better or lead period, how to work with different people, how to understand communication styles, um, how to find effective ways of working together in group dynamics. So mm, certain things that I say. But now I can say something like, I'm an executive coach and consultant. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. That's cool. It's not as what do you mean? What is that anymore?
Hmm.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So you're working with a lot of big brands, recognizable brands in executive coaching right now. Just so you
Hmm.
know, when Liz says she did ATEC, ATEC is the advanced training and executive coaching that ICG also offers. So you got certified in it is a niche, right?
Hmm.
Coaching, but it's pretty vague, broad niche still. Um,
Hmm.
uh, so tell me what it's like being an executive coach working for these big names. Like tomorrow, you told me you have a full day seminar at, was it Pandora?
Pandora. Yeah. Pandora Jewelry. Yep. Oh, sure. I mean, it's great. I've been working with Pandora Jewelry for over a year now. And I'm working with multiple teams within the organization, but the one I have tomorrow is their North American sales directors team. So they're the VP and the directors for all of the regional sales managers and store managers. There's over 2,000 stores in the US. And we've been on a high performing team journey. And tomorrow is another day. And they love it because it's a time for them to be able to think and connect as a team and think through strategies and slow down because in their line of work, they're like day to day to day. And normally we meet in a different city every quarter somewhere around the country so they can also visit other stores while they're all together. But this one is going to be our first virtual one. And my birthday's on Thursday, and they sent me a charm for my birthday right here. And it says
Oh,
Queen. And on the back it says HPT with a heart, which is high performing teams. I know, and a birthday card. That one's my favorite because I get cool swag.
right? That is
Yeah.
super cool. Happy birthday, by the
Yeah.
way.
Thank you. Thank you. So there's one example. And then like I was working with a team for GlaxoSmithKline GSK pharmaceutical company, and it was a manufacturing one of their manufacturing sites. And we did a whole year long culture initiative with them, starting with their senior leadership team and then their extended leadership team, and then eventually like touching everyone on the site one way or another. And that was a year. And one of their pieces was to really build a lasting legacy and bring more work to the site because it's like operating at half capacity, and they've done that. And I got the opportunity to support like the first woman of color site director ever in the GSK network and in Zebulon, North Carolina. And we're still working together one on one today, and I just feel like so proud to be a part of their transformation in any little way. And I just have moments like that where I really honor the teams and the people that I work with. And I can say honestly, when I first was saying I want to go into coaching, like, oh God, they're evil. Like corporations are evil. And I might have had like a small voice in the background about it. And no, maybe, I mean, maybe, yes, on some level. But at the level that I'm working at, I'm working with people, like people who care, people who love what they do, people who have families and dreams and things they want to do. And I always say to anybody I'm working with, it's like, yes, X corporation is paying for me. And I say this even before I work with them, but I'm committed to you and to this team and or whoever it is that I'm working with. And I coach the whole person. So even though we might be in here in this capacity, your whole life matters in these sessions, and you can bring anything you want in. And I've just had the opportunity to support people in that way. And I do still have like a private practice where I will take one-on-one clients that aren't necessarily corporate. Um, yeah, and I love it. So it's like I have this collaboration with this company and I contract for this company, but I also have my own practice where I'll have people come through that way too.
Got it. So,
Yeah.
so we talked about like all the things you did that you didn't like and didn't work for you. Then you went on and you did, this advanced training, executive coaching. What started to really work? How did you start creating these big clients?
Yeah. Um, through partnering with organizations that were already doing this that I really admired and respected. So that was it. Liz Haber Zambrano, did not go to Pandora and be like, you need to work with me. No, I partnered with an organization who already that did coaching and consulting, who I liked them, they liked me. It was a really good fit. And from there, then especially being in they're one of these organizations is based in the UK and I'm in the US. So US work was very naturally, if it was a good fit, I was getting hired and then rehired. And that's where it's like get out in the door and then let myself do good work, like really honoring the craft of coaching and do good work working with people. And then it just leads to more work or continued contracts or other referrals to other places. So that's really how I started, is just partnering with other um, consulting, coaching like companies that I aligned with their ways of working, their values, and the caliber of coaching that they were offering and delivering. I also want to say that even though at this stage, I am not like, let me build an audience and run a community anymore. I didn't want to do that anymore. It still mattered. Like we live in 2025, so I understand. I still have to at least look like I'm a coach online, because what's the first thing somebody's going to do when they get a referral from me? They're going to look me up. So I can't just completely say like none of that matters. No, I understand that matters in some capacity. So for me, what I did was I invested in good photography and a really good website, and had that, slapped that up, and I'll ask for referrals occasionally and update my stuff and keep on top of that. And once in a while, when the moon is out or the stars are aligned, Mercury's not in retrograde, I'll make a video, like, or I'll post something. But it's not like my necessary go-to, but it still matters that we, at least for me, it mattered that I at least looked like a coach who knew what she was doing online. Even though I knew I was a coach who knew what I was doing. But for that initial, reach out and a place for people to sign up or book a discovery call, that matters for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, I popped your website in the chat for people who are curious because it is a beautiful website. I, of course, checked you out after you told me about that. It's really well done. And I hear you. On the one hand, it's not what drives your business, but it's still important.
Hmm.
Not having a social presence in 2025 is pretty much impossible, unless you want to be a hermit. I mean,
Hmm.
so we had
Yeah.
some questions come in. I think there's a little bit of disconnect. So you say you create, you went out and you found an organization, you found a partner.
Hmm.
What do you mean by that? Like me listening to that,
Okay.
how would I, what, who?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good question. Well, so going back to, I was in the question of like what was next for me. And then I was getting very clear on the ways that I wanted to work. So like I didn't want to drum up business myself, like as the only way of creating work. So I was open to contracting with other coaching companies or firms, other coaching companies and firms. And that looked like sometimes I had like a LinkedIn notification of executive coaching, and it would send me it would send me emails to let me know what was available in the field. And I loved that because it had me be able to see what was available in the field and like keep an eye on the market of, at this time it was like business coaching or executive coaching, keep an eye on that market. And then once in a while I would apply to something, like I would apply, I'm like, oh, this looks interesting, this looks like something I would want to be a part of. And the ones that I found didn't actually come from that way. It came from referrals. It just came from other people referring me. And I found that I work with an organization called the C-Suite Collective out of California. That was a referral based organization. I got in right when it was just launching, and I met the leader and I was like, or the founder, and I'm like, we everything you're saying is how I also operate and what I believe in. I'm in. And it was just like a very easy yes. And then another referral came through ICG with that application. But I really believe by being in the question and doing the action of being willing, applying to these positions. And I had a couple interviews. I said no to some stuff. I never got a call back on other stuff, like all of that just started the wheels turning in the way that universal magic works. When you start taking action towards something that you want, it comes to you, but maybe in different ways. That is what was happening for me. And this was not a quick, okay, I woke up and then it happened. This was months. I still had my own private like client base that I was working with. um but getting into organizational work was a journey. I think it was at least a year from when I started, and then I was like, okay, from when I decided this is where I want to go, and then doing ATEC, and then applying to stuff, and being open, and enrolling one company to like take me on for the first time, and not having any idea what I was doing, and then being like, okay, I need to go to ATEC, and then like trying out different things. And I think about that company and that like group that I had, and I didn't think I made a lick of difference for anybody in there. Like I felt like everybody was ignoring me and they were just forced to be there, and I would have done it completely different if I knew now. But funny story, one of the people in that group sat down with my best friend who lives in Nashville and was like, one time this company, and she knew the company. She's like, one time they brought in this person and she did this program and this coaching program, and it totally changed my life. I, and then my best friend was like, that was my best friend. And I would have I have no idea. So even when I feel like I made zero difference because the feedback from the virtual coaching that I was doing was very minimal, I still made a difference.
I love
So
that.
stuff like that happened.
Yeah, that's so cool. Uh, it's like really inspiring because I think any coach that's on the line with us right now has had moments where we're like, am I making any kind of difference here? Or like,
Mhm.
why am I even doing this? And
Mm,
you never know. You never know the ripple effect that's happening.
yeah,
So let's see if I can break down what I'm hearing. So one, I think it's really smart that you bring up LinkedIn. It's a very underutilized tool. There's so many executive coaching positions opening up right now. I mean, this industry is booming. People are, always like, I don't know, can I really make a career as a coach? The answer is yes, you can. So LinkedIn, really smart that you were finding opportunities that way. And then also word of mouth through reputation. Every
yeah.
executive coaching job I've gotten also has not been through me marketing, has been through word of mouth, people referring me to
Mhm.
companies. So I think community is really important as a coach. We don't do anything alone. And even though it's, Liz Coaching, right,
Mhm.
is your company, and your face is all over it, it wasn't just you that built it.
Mm-mm. Mhm. 100%. And it's like it so wasn't just me. And it's lonely if it was only just me. I would have probably given it up by now because in so many ways, like coaching it's private, it's you and the client, but you don't have like a break room and you're talking to people or even spaces like this, like you saying, I miss talking shop. Absolutely. It's important. And showing up to things like this, being in relationship with other coaches, at least for me, has had a profound impact on my career. Yeah. And some of the best like coaches that I know who are very successful, they have very little following. You wouldn't know if you looked at their stuff that they're making s- high six, close to seven figures working doing executive coaching. Like you wouldn't know that. And they are, like there's so many ways you can do this. And this is not to say that if you know your audience and you love running communities and enrolling people and creating programs, that isn't a way either. That's a phenomenal way. Um, I coach some people who have those businesses. Like it's great. It just wasn't it hasn't been my way right now. It might be. I'm open that I can be like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go, to play this game and to do it that way. But for right now, this business and career and the way that I'm working, it works for the way I want to live my life.
Mm.
I'm happy. Yeah. Hmm. And that's the other beautiful piece about coaching. It's so um versatile. You and I were talking about this. You can live in Costa Rica and have an awesome coaching practice, anywhere. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what appealed to me, especially in the beginning. And that was over 10 years ago now that I got certified through ICG. And wow, I mean, 10 years ago, I thought it was, it gave me a lot of flexibility and a lot of power over my career. Now it's unbelievable. Like you said, I literally live in Costa Rica. I'm in my beautiful home right now in the rainforest. And, I was talking to Liz about how much I miss the in-person meetings, and I do, but also how privileged and blessed I am that I can be out here really in the middle of nowhere in the Caribbean and still connecting with coaches all over the world. And so again, the community is so important. Staying connected with other coaches. I guess networking, you would call it. It doesn't feel like I'm networking right now because Liz is my buddy and we've been friends for a long time and everything. But that's essentially what we're doing is we're networking. And I think when it doesn't feel like you're doing work, that's when it's the most fun, right? And that's really when you know that you've made it.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. And I do love, especially in communities of ontological coaching and having these levels of conversation, you rarely meet somebody that you're like, no. Most of the people you're like, if you're in here, if you're in, even if you're in listening to this right now, these are your people. It's beautiful that way. And I'm seeing the happy birthdays. Thank you. And thank you in the chat.
So before we wrap up, any more like practical tips for people building their practice? We talked a lot about ways of being actually on this call. We're in ontological coaching school, so that makes sense. Being open, being in the question, failing fast, failing forward, all of these things that sound really great. How do you put them into
Mhm.
practice, Liz?
Great. Yeah, well, I feel like I work with people all the time on like, how do you want to live? How do you want to design your life? So starting right there for myself is step number one. Is this working for me? Is it still working for me? Is this how I want to be living? And then if the answer is yes, great, keep going. If the answer is no, okay, work backwards. Um, what might I do differently? Literally, oh my gosh, I'm going to say this publicly. Sometimes when my coaching client creating would look like this. I'd look up at the sky, at the universe, and I'd be like, okay, I am ready for another client. I am ready. And then I would go along and live my life and do the things I would do. And that client would show up. And then I would thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it would show up. And then I would do it again. I still to this day do that. I'd be like, okay, I'm ready. I am ready for another client and work through it that way. Yeah.
That's so great because to the certain listener,
Uh-huh.
I can hear the critic being like, well, that's not practical, right? We asked for practical advice here. looking up at the sky and saying, okay, universe, I'm ready
I'm
for my
ready.
client. Doesn't sound that practical, but it works for you.
It works. Yeah, it really does. It really does. And it's like a combination of experiencing and living in gratitude for everything, and then being ready and saying, I'm ready. And then that doesn't actually, so what I might also do if I say I'm ready might look like, okay, let me see what's available out there. Let me maybe text some of those clients that paused with me if they're ready to restart. Maybe tell somebody, hey, you said you were going to refer that person. I never heard from them. Like there's some action that might happen after I say, okay, I'm ready. So it doesn't just mean that, but then sometimes it really is like that. It's like both. It depends on how much time I have on my hands. But it might just be like that. So I always like to ask people some practical things. I always like to ask people for references or recommendations. That's one, because if I'm going to build my business on referral and word of mouth, I would love a recommendation. And I've been more recently kind of just funneling those through LinkedIn, because then they'll live there on LinkedIn and you can always copy and paste them, anywhere else you want to use them. For me, that's worked for me. Uh, Literally being in the question and keeping a clear doing really good work. That's the other piece. So staying up with my craft. So showing up, getting my CCEs for my coaching certification, getting like I was in a polarity workshop on Monday to really, it was offered to me and I was like, sure, I will go there. Or reading books, listening to things, listening to podcasts, like staying in touch and on top of this craft that we have while also connecting with other coaches. That's been my sauce. And being willing to try stuff and then notice when I don't like it and I'm not good at it and I'm not going to be able to keep this up, and letting it go, but staying true to the coaching. So, like, coaching is what I love to do and I know I'm good at it. And then, okay, let's just practice how that's going to be expressed.
Yeah. I mean, your message has been consistent through this entire, episode. And that is, okay, I'm ready. Let me prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And let me go out and start trying stuff and see what lands, see what sticks. And
Mm-hmm.
because here's the thing, and I've seen it with so many students, it is ask yourself this: what are you not doing right now that you know you could be doing if you were really ready? Who have you not reached out to that you know is a huge resource? And for whatever reason that you're telling yourself that they're not going to want to talk to me, or that they're too busy, or I'm not qualified, right? Um, who are you not reaching out to? Who are you not making requests to? And this is really important. Uh, Requests. Who are we not making requests to? Because the worst thing they could say is no. And yes lives in the land of no. So, requests for recommendations, for referrals, for every person on the call, it's going to look different.
Yeah.
That's why there's no how to in real life, because each of you has a different set of possibilities in front of you right now. Which one do you want to say yes to? Say no to the others, right? Give up everything you don't want, and then start creating what you do.
100%. And the no can change through time. Like if I look at my last 15 years, at one point I ran a community. I'm not interested in doing that anymore. At one point I taught in a coaching school. Loved it. Not what I want to do right now. Uh and now I'm doing this. And there might be a time where I'm like, I'm done with corporate. I now want to do, but the thread is coaching, like it's all in the same world, but just how it might express can look different even within a whole career, or however long you're in this career can look so different. Or you could be one of those people that, nope, I found my niche and my audience and that's what I've done for the last 40 years or whatever that is. And that is also beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah, that landed a little differently for me this time when you were talking about that, and that is, what am I hanging on to that I need to let go? Because what
Mm,
worked for my career, my coaching career last year, I might be hanging on to that because it worked once, but does it work now? Like staying present, is it working for me right now? And if it's not, having the courage to let it go and try something else.
girl. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. When I was leaving the personal transformational development world, the way that I had it, I was so afraid that I wasn't gonna be able to work or have work that kept coming, because that's where my work came from for so long. But there was a part of me that was really pulling in a different direction and wasn't resonating as much. And I would still be asked, like, will you come and do this training? Will you come and do? And I chose to let it all go and step into something else. Not the relationships, but the like say no to that and close that door and step into something else. And it was terrifying. It was terrifying. And my husband was so supportive, actually. Like, he was like, you can do this. You are going somewhere else now. Like, that's okay. And he helped me be able to be like, okay, this isn't what I want to do anymore. And I'm going to close the store and but it was really scary. And I don't regret it at all, at all. And so I'm grateful I did that, because it opened up everything I just told you that I'm doing right now is at the same time that I was saying no to that world. Yeah.
Mm,
So I
pow-
hear you.
powerful.
Hmm.
So, one of the things you said yes to was Ideal Coaching Global and getting your certifications through
Hmm.
ICF at the school, and then going on to get your advanced training and executive coaching. We have another course starting this February. If anyone on the call is interested in joining this awesome community, Mitch, go ahead and put that discovery call link in the chat for us. You can also head over to idealcoachingglobal.com to learn more about our 9-month certification program. This is the basic level of certification, ACC or PCC. You can choose to do level 1 or level 2, but we start in February. Tell us just a little bit about how your experience at Ideal Coaching Global was.
Yes. Okay. Real talk. There are so many coaching schools out there. ICG is one of the most professional, all-encompassing, masterful programs. And I tell people all the time, like, you can go out there and grad and you will never get what you can get coming here. I really believe it's like the real deal. Like, the level of education and learning and fostering of coaching and care that is available here is not what you can find in many, many other programs. And I'm not to say there aren't other good ones out there. This one is excellent. And the caliber of coaches that the school produces, in my opinion, are excellent. Excellent coaches. Yeah,
You
highly recommend.
I mean, I have to agree. But it is. That's why I love having different alumni on here every week, because everyone is up to, and they have defined success in this industry in their own way. But they're all successful, right?
Mhm.
And not to say that there aren't students who have come through and not become a coach or whatever, but for the most part, so many of our coaches are up to such incredible things
Yeah.
around the world. It's just inspiring. It makes me pumped. It makes me want to look up to the universe and say, okay, I'm ready. What's next? Right.
Hmm. And from like a practical place, when you graduate, you're already set up to be at the second level of coaching, just from your qualifications, which is now I don't have to go back and go to school again to get that second level. I'm set up. And that was also like a no-brainer because there's 3 levels in the ICF certification process. Um, I I would highly recommend it. And even if you never, do you know how many being in corporate now, how many people could use this? Like, so, like, don't even need to be a coach, but if you want to be a great leader, a great manager, a great developer of people in any way, beautiful place to be. Like, really, you couldn't be in a better spot. I actually find myself teaching coaching to managers and leaders all the time so that they can develop their people
Mm,
instead of just manage their people.
yes. Yeah. I see Nancy
Mhm.
on cheering us on tonight. Hi, Nancy. She says, agreed with multiple. Thank you for that. And thank you to all the alumni that joined us tonight. I see a lot of you on here. It's great to have you. And yeah, I just really, it's always such a pleasure to be in your presence, Liz. So thank you
Yeah, same.
for volunteering to give back to your community tonight.
100%. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored. Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, have a wonderful evening. We enjoyed having you here for another coaching shop conversation. Come back in 2 Tuesdays. We are actually going to have not another alumni, but the founder of Ideal Coaching Global herself on the call November 4th. Betty J. Spruill is going to be here and she's going to discuss building worlds that work actually, and how we create uh, our future through language. One of her very favorite topics. And so we'll be talking a lot about listening. As you speak, you become, as you listen, you shape the emerging future. It's a quote of Betty's there. So join us for the next episode of the Coaching Shop. Spread the word. And thank you again for being here. Good night, everyone.